Hello everyone. So welcome to the next session in our monthly current affairs series. And today we'll be starting with the economy first session. Economy content is relatively less this time around. So still we have divided the session into two part one and the part two. The part one will discuss something banking related, finance, insurance. The first one, that is asset reconstruction companies. These ARCs are very important. Why? There are a few reasons. They have been very important for past 3 to 4 years, or I'll say 5 to 6 years, because of the whole NPA problem, right? What are these asset reconstruction companies are? These, one of the example is, you can see Advil's reconstruction company. First of all, these lie in the NBFCs. Okay? These are the NBFCs that are being controlled and regulated by the RBI. First thing is that. Secondly, they are registered under the Companies Act. They are companies. They are registered under the Companies Act, NBFC. So what is their name? Asset Reconstruction Company. That is one of the NPAs. So what they do, they basically, from the banks, they buy these NPAs and they try to extract maximum out of these NPAs, the loans, maximum out of these NPAs. So it works for both of them, for banks as well as for the AMCs, ARCs. These ARCs are very, very skillful, and they are supposed to be very skillful in resolving or getting the maximum out of a property. For example, this was a collateral, let us say, on a loan. Now they want to extract maximum out of the collateral. Now the banks have already a lot of work to do. They have to give so many loans and these things. So this a new NBFC was being created, that is asset reconstruction companies, that was being envisaged by the Narsimhan Committee 1 and then Narsimhan Committee 2. So it was envisaged so that these asset reconstruction companies can extract maximum values out of these NPAs. So that's all. So NBFCs, you must have read, NBFC are being regulated by a lot of agencies. So within the agencies regulated by the RBI, these are the asset reconstruction companies. You need to remember all the NBFCs, at least these categorizations, that which are the NBFCs which are regulated by RBI, then which are regulated by SEBI, and stockbrokers, mutual fund, rates, InvITs, investment bank, and all this. Then which are being regulated by the other institutions such as IRDA, PFRDA, National Housing Bank, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and other things. Chalo, let's come back to the ARC. So it's a special type of financial institution that buys the debtor of the bank at the mutually agreed value and attempts to recover the debts and associated securities by itself. Already explained in the layman language what the ARC is. So earlier in Narsimhan Committee 1, they suggested that we need to have these companies so as to improve the balance sheet. We have already discussed, or you must have read in one of the links in our Telegram channel, you may find 50 years of bank nationalization, economic survey chapter. There I have discussed that what were the problems of the banking sector before 1991. And one of the problems was it was nationalized bank, and they were very, a lot of NPAs were there. So Narsimhan Committee 1 envisaged setting up a central reconstruction fund to facilitate banks to improve their balance sheet by cleaning up their non-performing loans. First it was envisaged, then finally Narsimhan Committee 2, they said that ARC needs to be established. Then finally under the SARFAESI Act, 2002, these have been registered under this. Okay, so they work under the SARFAESI Act. Very quickly, RBI regulates ARC as the NBFC. First ARC was Aircel, not important to remember for UPSC perspective. 24 ARC now, Advilis is one of the largest one. Their role, we have already discussed: acquisition of financial asset, takeover of the management, sale, lease of the business of the borrower, rescheduling of the debts, enforcement of the security interest, and all these things. Now, coming up with the IBC. So this is the bank, this is the ARC, and this is the borrower. So they'll try to extract maximum out of the value. Financial stability report of the RBI says that the performance of these ARCs have declined. Earlier, they were getting at least 21% of the value. Now their value has declined to around 2.8%, 2.3%. And this is not very poor thing. This means that the NPA, once done, these ARC is not able to do the work they are expected to. They are expected to extract maximum value out of those NPAs, but they are not able to do so. And this is a cause of a big concern which needs to be tackled. Now, what are the challenges are being said? Challenges by the ARCs. First, they're not adequately capitalized. The ARC themselves do not have the adequate capital. For example, their own infrastructure, their own skill set. For example, their own skill set, the skill set that we talked about, to convert this NPA into a extract maximum value from this NPA. So they don't have that skill set. They don't have that skill set to help out the companies which are under the, which are not able to repay or which are not able to give their loans back. Then valuation of an NPA is a concern. For example, according to some estimate, the some other values there, some value, some ascribed other value. Lack of standardization in this process is also a problem. So based upon this valuation, their percentage increases or decreases. है ना? If the valuation is less, their percentage will increase. For example, it's a, someone marks, no, it's a 100 crore property. Someone says no, it's a 50 crore property. If they're able to extract 25 crore ARCs, their here their efficiency is 25%, and here their efficiency is 50%, like that. Then the structure of ARC is also a big issue. Somewhere down the line, we'll discuss about Para. That is a bad bank that is being proposed, that we need to have a big asset reconstruction company that will take over the resolution of these NPAs. This idea has been floating for far too long, that we need to have this asset reconstruction company known as Para, said by Economic Survey, or bad banks as said by the various newspapers or by the finance ministry. That we need to have this centralized agency. The decentralized methods have not worked for the resolution of the NPA, and we require that centralized agency to get the NPA problem under control. One of the problems in that structure, that is whether it will be a government owned agency or whether it be a privately owned agency, what should be the share between both of them. So this is again a big challenge. And the last challenge that has come with the arrival of the NBS and IBC, sorry, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Under the IBC, the ARCs get some powers to make resolution plans. I hope you have read IBC, or we'll discuss somewhere down the line IBC. If you want to watch in the March 2020 economy 2 video, I have economy 1 video, I've already discussed the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code in detail. That whole video is dedicated to Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So your ARCs are given some responsibilities or given the power to make resolution plans under the IBC, but they're not given some same power under the SARFAESI. So some regulatory ambiguity is also there. So these are the challenges are being faced by your ARC. Your question can come on in the mains examination. In the prelims, you can expect one question, that is the NBFC. What is this NBFC? And then registered under what? So these are the very simple question you can expect on the ARC. From the mains perspective, you can get whole question, 10-mark question on the ARC, or the 15-mark question, what is ARC and that the need of the Para or the bad bank. Let's go to the next topic. That is RBI announced the new liquidity facility under the long-term repo operations. Repo operations, we all know, right? Repo operation, that is RBI give some money to the banks, and the banks give some collateral to the RBI, right? That's the simple idea. Very simple monetary policy basics, right? So let us see first this diagram. So RBI will give some money with how much tenure? 1 to 3 year tenure. Now repo operations are basically a short term they are being given, right? But the long term repo, that means for long term we will give this money, right? And they have to deposit the government security with the matching or a higher tenure as a collateral. So this collateral they will give, and they will give money for such long term. Under the repo operations, they give money for a very less period, right? And that is why it is in addition to the existing facility of the LAF, liquidity adjustment facility, and the marginal standing facility. If you are not able to recall these repo operations, LAF and MSF, please go and revise from your basic economy, right? Indian economy, monetary policy. So under LTRO, RBI will conduct the repo of 1 year and 3 year loans of appropriate size for up to amount 1 lakh crore at the policy repo rate. What is the idea? Idea is that when we infuse such liquidity to the banks, when we'll infuse such liquidity to the banks, the bank can transfer the liquidity to the people, and they will decrease the short-term interest rate. In the short run, interest rate can decrease, because when the banks have a lot of liquidity, they have a good amount to give, and they will decrease the interest rate. So that is the idea, to infuse liquidity into the market. Next is Saral Jeevan Bima. From the name itself, Saral means easy. Jeevan Bima, Jeevan means life. Jeevan means life, Saral means easy, and Bima means insurance. Now, from the name itself, it's very clear, right? Easy life insurance. What is the context behind it? The context behind it lies in the varies variable. If you have seen any insurance policy, a lot of different insurance policies are there, right? So many different policies with so many different catalogs and different categories, a very complicated structure, which may not be able, which the SEBI has thought that it the or IRDA, not SEBI, IRDA has thought it through that it is not, the common people are not able to get a grasp of it, right? Because there's so much complications are there. If something happens, we are not able to get the refund because some of the terms and conditions are not clear. Hence, they got thought that we need to have a standardized product, standard term insurance product, and that is known as Saral Jeevan Bima Yojana. It's a very simple insurance policy which pays nominees a fixed sum after the policy's death, policyholder's death. Some of the conditions you need to just remember, small conditions. The policy holder, if you want to make a policy 18 to 65 year, policy tenure is 5 to 40 years, minimum sum insured 5 lakhs to 25 lakhs. Very important, remember 45 days is the waiting period. That means today I have taken the policy and within the 45 days I die, then the policy holder will not, policy holder already dies, the nominee will not get the anything. 45 days is the lock in or the waiting period which is being decided. So this is your Saral Jeevan Bima Yojana. Very quickly, let us understand it. A standard individual term life insurance product unveiled recently by RDA. It will help the customers make an informed choice and reduce the mis-selling. Mis-selling means I have told you something and ultimately you get something. You are told that okay, this is the, you have bought something, but you don't know exactly what it is, or you are being fooled to buy that particular product without knowing less about it. All the life insurers have to offer standard products by January 1. That means not only the government sector, but the private sectors also. For example, Max Life Insurance, Bajaj Life, but some other life insurance. They also have to offer such in product within the catalog of their product. Okay, fine. You can have your other catalog of the products. For example, maximum sum insured can go as up to as 1 lakh, 1 crore, not an issue. But you have to give one this additional feature in your bouquet, right? It's an individual pure risk premium insurance plan providing for payment of the sum assured in the lump sum to nominee in the case of the death. Chalo. The last fact that we're going to discuss today, as I told you, it's a relatively smaller session. So that is FCRA account. Now, FCRA accounts are basically, we have discussed in the governance, in the polity, that NGO issue, right? NGO and the recent amendment act which has come. And one of the clauses of that particular act was there that the NGOs have to open one account in the Delhi, in the SBI branch of the Delhi. And from that branch only, that designated branch only, the foreign money will come. We have discussed. And what were the problems with respect to it? We have already discussed that as well. So NGO registered under the FCRA shall not receive any foreign donations in any other bank account from April 1, 2021. So before that, they have to open this account in there. What we're going to study today, that is, what is this? What is this? Okay, this is FCRA. What is this? One thing to be confused, for example, FCRA account, right? So one thing in the economy I wanted to discuss, that is FCNR account. What is this FCNR account? These two things are not related, but confusion can be there. Okay? So within your balance of payment thing, there is one current account and there is one capital account, right? Within the current account, very quickly, visible with this goods, invisible, that is services, income, transfer, all these data are 2018 data, right? Transfers. Then within the capital account, you have FDI, FII, loan, you have sovereign loans, you have external commercial borrowings, and within the banking, you have the FCNR account. Don't get confused between this NGO wala account and this accounts. So what are these accounts? FCNR accounts can be opened for NRIs and PIOs. Now all these two categories are being mixed. NRIs and PIOs, that is non-resident Indians, and no, these two are not mixed, sorry. Because there are three terms, right? Overseas citizen of India and PIOs are mixed. NRIs are those who hold Indian passport, but they are living outside. PIOs and OCIs are people holding outside passport, but trace their origin to India. These are the difference. Now PIOs and OCI cards have been mixed. So NRIs and PIOs and OCI can open this account, right? It's a deposit and withdrawal in the foreign currency can be there. That is why it is included into your balance of payment. Otherwise it would not have been included in the balance of payment, because if they deposit, let's say $10 into this account, so that means $10 is coming to India, and that is why it is included into the balance of payment. It is not taxable in India, and they are fully repatriable. That means they can be transferred from one country to the other. So these are the FCNR account, in which are the part of your balance of payment. We read everything in this chart basically, but sometimes we tend to overlook this FCNR accounts, and that is why I've covered the FCNR account here. Understood? I hope it's all clear. So with this, we finish today's session. Today we have discussed in the money, banking, finance. We have discussed about the that is asset reconstruction companies. We have discussed about your Saral Bima Yojana. We have discussed about long-term repo operations. Then coming back to your balance of payment, we have discussed FCNR account. Don't get confused between this NGO wala thing. So with this, we finish today's session, and we will go for economy 2 sessions in the next session. We'll talk about some very basic things. Before ending the session, I would like to tell you within the economy, because totally now a lot of students are in the prelims mode, and very quickly, as I told you, our current affair from this moment, if it start, it will be very continuously. We'll be bringing every day at least one video will be there. This will be there. Now within the economy, just very briefly, I want to discuss with respect to prelims. With respect to prelims, economy may current affairs mostly provide only a context to your basics, foundational things. For example, we have discussed long-term repo operation. Yes, that's an important topic, but you need to revise and you need to remember, or you need to understand very well the whole monetary policy logic, whole repo operation logic. Then and only then you'll be able to get the whole idea. So focus more on the basic concepts in the economy. If you are through and through with your basic concepts, then your economy journey will be easy. Economy, I know it is one of the trickiest portion to cover in the prelims, one of the trickiest. But if you just focus on the current affairs and the subsequent part of its basics, or you revise basics first and just cover the current affairs like us with us or any other booklet that you read, then you are done with the economy. Within the economy, just to reiterate, finalize, summarize, economy focus on the basics, foundational. More questions can be asked from that rather than from the current affairs. So don't get too obsessed with the current affair without understanding the basics. Basics is the most important part. So with this, we finish our today's session, and we'll see you in the next session. Thank you.